Sorry. Yeah, a whole set of settlements I need to be. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I think we can turn the timing. I'll turn the timing for myself.
Yeah, don't worry,
Okay, all right.
making that.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to present this session in 4 levels. The first one is about knowledge. Where does it come from? How do we share knowledge? How does tacit knowledge become shared knowledge? And then I will be presenting the book evolution. How did a book become an open educational resources? So maybe down the road, you may want to try it as well. And I'll be talking about OERs, open educational resources, what they mean, what the implications are. And then I will talk about how our study went, what we did, how we developed this textbook. This textbook that we developed actually is being used by 75 plus universities. So we're very proud of it. So I'm going to share that experience. Maybe you would like to do it as well within your own subject area. So let me start with this. Okay. Allora, okay.
Just one moment, probably you just need to click on.
So I'll go like that.
Try now.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
okay. This worked, right? Okay, I'd like to share this with you, and I want to ask you who this is, what this is, any ideas? Yes. Oh, Alice in Wonderland. Yes, this is Alice in Wonderland. What makes you think it's Alice in Wonderland?
Because the way she's spinning around,
Yes,
the cards.
yes, she's spinning around. She's got a blue dress. She's a blonde little girl, and all the cards around her and little creatures, etc., tells us that this comes from the book Alice in Wonderland. Of course, Alice in Wonderland is not only for children, but it's also for grown-ups. It has many lessons written by an author that was a mathematician at Oxford University. So this is Alice in Wonderland. When we get this knowledge from books, it gives us creativity. It opens up our flexibility. We look at the world differently, even as children. It improves our imagination, creativity, etc. So Alice in Wonderland, and here, okay. And then this is from the book. It's a beautiful quote I love. It's for grown-ups, isn't it? Look at it. I could tell you my adventures beginning from this morning, but it's no use going back to yesterday because I was a different person then. It's for grown-ups, isn't it? We often dwell on the past thinking we can fix things, but we can't. So that's the knowledge. Now let's go and look to see what knowledge is. We have different types of knowledge, of course. One is propositional. It's yes or no, it's true or false. We can't fix it. Water boils at 100 degrees. So you can't, it's true. I mean, we can't take that into a different context and change it. The second one is procedural. If you want to play the piano, if you're driving, you need a set of rules that you need to follow, to abide by. So that's procedural, and it's about skills, developing skills. Our friend talked about it this morning, about developing, acquiring skills. So that's another way of acquiring knowledge. And then the other one is you get familiar with it. If you come to Florence for the first time, you look around and you're sort of gaining knowledge. You're gaining knowledge by observation. So when we go to the next slide, I just want to share where knowledge stands in comparison to data, information, understanding, wisdom. Where is its place? So this pyramid, known as data, information, knowledge, wisdom, is by Eckhoff right here. It's not made by me, but when we look at the bottom level, it's all about adding value as we go up the pyramid, isn't it? So the bottom level is data, and it's sort of raw. What you do is when you form it, you try to organize it, it becomes information. Then at the next level, if you're using the information, it becomes knowledge. And then as you go up more, it becomes understanding. And if you use it effectively, it becomes wisdom. So knowledge stands towards the upper section of the pyramid, but it's all taking the data and making it useful, because data alone is raw. So every time, every step we go up, we add value to the initial data. But second one is from observation. If you go out in Florence, if you go to the main squares, etc., look at the Duomo, what you're doing is you're observing and again getting knowledge. You're constantly pulling in knowledge. It's very interesting. And then here's what we have. We just did this at the coffee break. It's socially transmitted knowledge. We talk about at conferences like this, at coffee breaks. It's informal, but we're still, there's this transmission of knowledge by interaction. So you get that as well. But it's not, it's informal. You know, we're just talking. Now, as you go up the circle, there is shared knowledge, which is formal. It has to be designed. It cannot be assumed. A conference like this is a platform for shared knowledge. We present, as did Anna. So what we do is we acquire knowledge, we gain knowledge through, we're sharing our knowledge, what we did, through conferences, through meetings, etc. What I will do is I'm going to present the collaborative process of knowledge sharing through open educational resources. What we did is we teach online. It's called a zero course because there is zero textbook. We're not using any commercial textbooks. And I'm going to explain that. And the course is educational research. Now let's go, as I promised, this was developed by Google. So I said, can you please design this? Whoop, it came up. You can tell it's artificial intelligence because of the design. You can create anything. So evolution of the book, if you look at the papyrus scrolls, imagine from papyrus scrolls, we come to the codex, sewing up the manuscripts, and then paper spreads from China to Europe all over. Then we have medieval manuscripts. People are writing but manually. Isn't it interesting? You have designs, you have manual texts, and then finally 1448, we have Johannes Gutenberg, who actually, with the printing press comes the printing of books, which is amazing. I mean, all the way through. And then that's the internet moment, 1448, isn't it? That's the internet moment of, what we're experiencing today with AI. Leap from medieval manuscripts to movable type. There you go, from Leonardo da Vinci, if you'd like to see it, it's in Milan. And the printing press. It's an amazing thing. Now, the other one is once the printing press started, we have industrial printing, we have public libraries, we have so many books. And then from the internet age, digital text, we come to open educational resources, meaning these texts are free, they're available. If you look at the human rights side of it, they're available to everyone, which is great. Now, we're very close to the National Library of Firenze, although they have this tram construction, it's sort of difficult to get to, and they're renovating it. If you have a chance, go into it. It's very interesting because in 1966, Florence had a terrible time in November. Mud and debris came from the River Arno, and it destroyed a lot of, in this sense, of course, art pieces, but also manuscripts, etc. So this was a very important period. So if you have time, go into the library. It's very near, you pass the street and it's very near the Santa Croce area. So you look at it. Yeah, very special place, I must say. So going back to OERs, what are OERs? It was founded in 2001. You have to see the CC, two C's that stand for Creative Commons. You have to see the CCs to recognize that this text is free, Creative Commons. And why did it start? Because with the 1C, copyright, it was limited. Not everybody could get education. In today's world, education should be free, texts should be free, they should be available. So that's why it started. So we have Creative Commons. It's an access to knowledge is not just a privilege, it's a human right. So we should be able to share the knowledge. If you look at this, the 1C, copyright, all rights reserved, no entry. But if we do Creative Commons, it has certain reservations, but again, you can still have access to it. And if it's a public domain, open. So these are the different types, going through this. And why do we have OERs? Why are we against copyright? Because when we look at commercial textbooks, there's access problem. It's limited. Availability concerns, even if you're using an electronic version of a research book, it says you can only use it till August 2026 and then you're finished. And the person has paid. Rising costs, inequities. If people don't have the means, financial means, there's no way they can access the book. So this has become a huge problem, and hence the importance of Creative Commons. What does it do? Why? It gives us, excuse me, it gives us flexibility to adapt. You can change it. It's a living textbook, which means you can go in as the authors, you can go in anytime and change things and make, adjustments, which means that it is a living textbook, which is important. Commercial textbooks, you can't just go in and say, oh, this changed, etc. You have to wait for the new edition. That's why it's so difficult. Like we said, it includes everyone. It has equity, advantages, and there's no cost to it. Imagine paying 200 euros or dollars for whatever for a textbook. You're going to use it once, and then you may resell it. So there's that problem. So that's why it is important. But when you use an OER, when you take an open textbook, and you can do a lot of things with it. You can take it and make it your own. You can take it and remix it with your own things. There's a mosquito. Redistribute. You can do a lot of things. It's called the 5 R's, being able to use the text that somebody has produced. But it's available. You can do anything. And the way to do anything, take a look at this. It shows you how you can make changes. So, attribution by, you have to say this. What we're doing is we're disclosing the authors, saying, it's by these authors. You're recognizing, you're giving, recognition to the people who wrote or the person who wrote it. It's non-commercial, cannot be sold, etc. It has to be the same, stay the same, or share like, etc. I don't want to get into this, but you will see these little, if you will, icons, little attributions, whatever, 6 different types of licenses if you want to take a textbook that is open and change it. So coming back to our study very fast, it's a qualitative study. It covered a real context in a prolonged engagement period. I'm one of the authors, so 5 of us. We were engaged trying to put the book together. So this is what I'm going to share. And the theoretical framework is the Secchi knowledge creation model. So that's interesting that I'd like to share with. Okay. So the significance was there's little research on how people actually put these texts together. We want to know about it. What do faculty do? Are there incentives for faculty to write texts while they're teaching, which was our case? And then the focus is on social, relational, epistemological, the knowledge dimension of OER development. So there's that social aspect as well when 5 people get together. And the research question is, how do faculty collaboratively create an open textbook, and how can this process be understood through the SECI model of knowledge creation? Very quickly, let's share SECI model. The SECI model was used in business, really, in professional development. How do you share knowledge? What do you do? See, we're sharing knowledge here too. It can't be assumed. It has to be designed. And this is, of course, by 2 Japanese gentlemen, Nonaka and Tagauchi. And what they did is they created it. This particular model has been in use with businesses, really. But recently, educators like ourselves have been using it. It's very interesting. If you look at the first box, it's socialization. So you have your tacit, your own knowledge. And then from the tacit knowledge, as you socialize, you get together and say, something's not working. And then it becomes externalized, where you're actually starting to share knowledge. You're quite not organized. Combination allows you to get organized, put the book together, the chapters, who's doing what, etc. And finally, we internalize it, meaning we implement it, we teach it to see, are there any disadvantages, what's going on? In our case, it was a wonderful experience. So there's a dynamic interaction between these squares, from socialization to internalization. It's dynamic. What you're doing is you're reflecting, you're making sense of what's really happening. So as you can see in this one, here's what happened. We shared our knowledge face to face. We got together. We said, it was very interesting. We said, we were teaching research, and we said, this commercial textbook is not working. It's not doing what we'd like it to do. It's not meeting the needs of the students. So we said we were all saying the same thing, strangely. So that's significant, isn't it? 5 people coming together and saying, this is not working. We were continually complaining. And then, so what we did is we socialized, and then we articulated our ideas chapters, which, because we had the experience of teaching research, we knew exactly what we wanted. Before, the commercial textbook was the curriculum. Now we devise a curriculum according to the needs, and the textbook was supporting that curriculum. So there's the difference. When you get an official textbook, usually becomes the curriculum, which shouldn't be the case, but it is. So here's what happened. And then once we brought it together, we piloted it in the classrooms and said, is it going well? How is it going? Anecdotal evidence, anecdotal data show that it was great. Oh, I just saw that the students are doing much better, much better. So that was very helpful. Now the data, I think I'm running out of time. 3 types of data: shared planning documents, draft chapters, reflective notes. Reflective notes are my own notes. They became analytic memos, which means as you take notes, you're analyzing in your head what's happening, where is it going, etc. So 2 types of data.
Don't worry about the time,
Okay.
because this is wrong. You still have 9 minutes.
Okay, thank
So
you,
don't
Isabel.
worry.
Thank you. I had 2 phases of data analysis. The first one was initial analysis. I identified 4 themes, and the second one was I interpreted those 4 themes through the SECI model of knowledge, which I shared with you. So now, what did I use? When you often do qualitative research, you have a text in front of you, transcription of maybe interviews, interactions, etc. So you have a text. It's textual data. So what you do is you take the textual data. So I did keyword and context method. So I looked at themes. I did it manually. I did not use any software like Deduce or And I just used my own manual, So I looked at the themes, what was coming up, and I'm going to share with you, which is very important. And then values coding. This is another type of coding for qualitative research. It's by Saldana, and the name is down there. Values coding is when you look at a text and you look at thoughts, feelings. What are the researchers feeling? What are the subjects feeling? What are their thoughts? So that was important. And the manual coding, once we were finished with that, I asked a colleague to look at it. So I made sure member checking happened. Member checking is important for reliability, validity in terms of qualitative data analysis. And here it is. If we look at it, initial findings, all these on the left-hand side, you see the words, the feelings, the thoughts. It was just like 5 of us were like exploding big time. It was the right time to actually do this research. So if you look at it, the first theme was shared dissatisfaction. That's the common denominator that brought us together. And then negotiation of disciplinary and pedagogical assumptions. What did we want? We didn't want the textbook curriculum. We wanted our own based on the needs of our students. What did they need? Master's level, what do they need? We don't want them going into a PhD level textbook. So, and then emergence of collective pedagogical ownership. That's our shared knowledge, isn't it? We're getting there. We're sharing the pedagogy of experiences, what happened in the classroom. And then open textbook as a living, revisable knowledge artifact. I think that theme 4 is the most important one. Just go into it. Generative AI came into being as we were writing this, developing this. So we said, oh my gosh, we need to add another chapter on AI as to how should our research students use AI. And for an example, in literature review, because we know 100% of students are using AI to bypass learning. We know it, but we have to teach them how to use AI. And I think Susan mentioned that in the morning. So we have to show them how to use it. So that's the important find. And subsequently, when I took those 4 themes and I juxtaposed it on the 4 stages of the Secchi model of knowledge creation, there it is, conversations established, because in a social environment, you're sharing knowledge, socially transmitted knowledge. Then it goes into negotiations, we're talking, contributions, a coherent textbook alignment, and then internalization, which is very important because each person goes into an online, it's by the way, online classrooms. And what you're doing is you're continuing to share your experiences, anecdotal evidence. So that's that. And conclusions is barriers were eliminated. No more inequity. Everybody has access to this book. Alternative to commercial content. It confirmed previous studies on curricular coherence, etc. And Secchi model is really a great way of getting together and sharing knowledge, tacit knowledge to shared knowledge. Susan, you talked about tacit knowledge this morning too. So it's really great to share that knowledge and put it into a formal context so it can't be assumed. We're designing it. So that's that. And then further research, we need to do more. We need to maybe replicate it and look into how this book is actually going. By the way, like I said, 75 plus universities are using the textbook now. It's free. And we used a software called Pressbooks. It's very easy to use, user-friendly. Whatever you want to teach, if you think you're ready, you have the expertise with a colleague, get together, write the book. Pressbooks, very easy. I mean, I'm like, wow, this is so neat. Yes. And then it's also in my university scholars repository. We have the Creative Commons license up there. It can't be sold, attributed to 5 people, etc. Here's the citation we have right here, and it's open access. This is what it says, open access, etc. If we click on it, it gets you to the repository. It's also in the open textbook library. If you go into the open textbooks if you use that URL, you go in there, you'll see a lot of different open textbooks that you can use, make use of. You can remix, you can add your own depending on the licensor. And then it will be in the conference proceedings if you'd like to read more. And thank you. Yeah.